This must be the place. Professor Oubier's house.
Looks pretty creepy. I'd been away from Paris and hadn't seen Nico for nearly 6 months. I wanted to celebrate our reunion, but she had other plans. An appointment with an archaeologist. Something to do with a Mayan stone she came across while researching the story. The guy who answered the door didn't look much like an archaeologist to me. I had a bad feeling about this. There were only 3 things I didn't like about spiders. The way they looked, the way they moved, and the fact that they lived on the same planet as me. This spider was big, mean, and hairy, and definitely not a native of Europe. I glanced over the books, vaguely hoping to find a copy of How to Deal with Poisonous Spiders While Tied to a Chair. No such luck. But I noticed one corner of the bookcase was supported by a loose block of wood. The block of wood had been used to replace the original foot of the bookcase. Maybe I'd been a little heavy-handed, but it was a question of survival. Of course, I was still tied to a chair in a burning house with no means of escape. The bookcase had been anchored to the wall by a protruding metal bracket. It had sheared off as the bookcase had fallen, leaving a jagged edge. With one mighty bound, our hero was free. Now, I had to deal with that fire. It was the chair I'd been tied to. The bureau had a sliding lid. Inside, I found a bottle of tequila. It was a half bottle of extra strong Mexican tequila. Just what I needed under the circumstances. Normally, I didn't drink strong spirits, but today was far from normal. Ew. Disgusting. Not only did the tequila burn like hell, I just managed to stop myself from swallowing the worm. It was a closed drawer. In the drawer was a small decorated pot. What looked like a little shriveled wiener lay on the carpet. Thankfully, it was only the worm from the tequila bottle. Well, I wasn't going to eat it. But life had taught me one thing. No matter how unlikely it seems, the strangest objects have their uses. Even tequila worms. Yellow pus was seeping from below the bookcase. That spider was very squashed. It was a needle-sharp dart with a flight of green and yellow feathers. That dart was sharper than a mosquito's business end, but this didn't deter me from getting it anyway. It was Nico's bag. It was a stylish little canvas number containing a lipstick, a handwritten note, and a pair of nylon panties with a large love heart emblazoned across the front. It occurred to me that Nico's tastes must have really changed while I was away. Well, they could be useful. The pot contained a key. I guess I had no business reading the note, but I figured it might give me a clue to what Nico was involved in. It was from André Labanau, the history student Nico had known at college. The letter was sentimental mush, and revealed that the exotic lingerie, as he called it, was a gift from him. It gave his telephone number. Labanau figured himself as a rival for Nico's affections, but I couldn't believe that that creep was in the running. It was the box that spider had crawled from. I wasn't going to touch the box after that spider had been inside it. It was a soda fountain, perfect for mixing with drinks or squirting at clowns. In the cabinet's wooden door was a very small keyhole. The cabinet was locked. As I released the lock, something blew the doors open. It was a small cylinder which seemed to have exploded. I couldn't think of a use for a burst cylinder. It was a small metal cylinder. That cylinder was hot. I couldn't pick it up with my bare hands. The panties I'd found in Nico's bag were just what I needed to wrap around the hot cylinder. It was a small metal cylinder with a valve at one end. The cylinder gave out a faint hiss as the valve opened. What? Now I had one primed up and ready to use extinguisher. With a well-aimed squirt of his soda fountain, our unshakable hero saved the day. Now it was time to start looking for Nico. I wasn't going to get through those sturdy bars. The bars attached to the window would prevent anyone getting in. They also stopped me from getting out. I wasn't going to burn myself on that red-hot doorknob, and it wasn't the time for subtlety. It was a folded clipping taken from a newspaper. I'd found a piece of newspaper folded in two. It referred to a forthcoming eclipse of the sun. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be visible from Europe. The best place to view the eclipse would be Mexico. It was the newspaper clipping referring to the imminent eclipse. Wrapped inside it was another small piece of paper. It was a bank statement for Ubier's account from an automatic telling machine. The last 5 withdrawals were for large amounts, and all made in Marseille. It was Ubier's bank statement. It was Ubier's telephone. Much as I disliked him, Labanau might be my only hope of finding Nico. Hi, Andre?
Who is this?
It's George Stobart, Nico's boyfriend.
Don't you mean ex-boyfriend?
Look, I didn't call you just to pick a fight. I need to talk to you about Nico.
Can't you accept she's just not interested in you?
Listen, Andre, we need to talk. Nico's life depends on it.
Okay. You remember the cafe at Montfaucon?
Sure. Andre? You'd better show, you creep. I felt an irrational urge to wipe my ear. I unlocked the door. I wasn't looking forward to meeting Labino again, but he was my only link with Nico. There was no sign of Labino when I got to the cafe. I decided to order a coffee and wait for him. Pardon me, but don't I know you?
Huh?
You were here the day I found the catacombs.
I was? Ah, yes. I remember you.
Yeah. Are you still in the police force?
No, not anymore. I'm a man of leisure. And what brings you back to Paris?
My girlfriend.
What it is to be young and in love. Will you share a bottle of wine with me?
Hey, listen, I'd love to, but I need to keep a clear head.
So my company isn't good enough for you.
Why did you leave the police?
I was forced to retire. The golden handshake. Only in my case, it was more copper than gold.
How come?
I was made a scapegoat to cover up the department's inefficiencies.
Have you ever heard of a Professor Oubier?
No, monsieur. I don't recall the name.
Well, apparently he's an expert on Mayan art and history.
A little out of my field of experience, monsieur. If he'd been a serial killer or a sodomite, I might have been able to help.
What do you make of this dart?
I remember a case where the victim was killed with just such a device. The poison acted in seconds, causing his body to swell up like an inflatable life raft.
What do you make of this news cutting?
Orphanage supplied fast food chain?
No, it's the article above that.
Oh! Total eclipse of the sun. Well, that's very dull in comparison. I don't know anything about eclipses.
Tell me what you make of this note.
From my years of experience, I gained a pretty good insight into handwriting. I'd say that note was written by a compulsive, obsessive type with an Oedipus complex.
Hey, you got just about everything apart from the ponytail. It was too hot to sit inside the cafe. Besides, I might miss Labino. I had no desire to go down into the sewers. I had no desire to go down into the sewers. Oh, garçon. He ignored me. I'm sure it was deliberate. I had nothing else I wanted to ask the gendarme. I couldn't snatch the man's flask while he was looking. It was a small silver flask from which the man was topping up his glass. Hey, you.
Quoi?
I'd like a cup of coffee if you don't mind.
When I finish serving this gentleman. Un café.
Thanks. What does that guy keep pouring out of his flask?
Absinthe.
Absinthe? I thought that was highly dangerous and outlawed in France.
It is. Don't look at me, I didn't sell it to him.
Do you know a guy called André Lobineau?
Oui, I know him. What of it?
I'm supposed to meet him here. Did I miss him?
No, I have not seen him today.
Have you heard of Professor Oubier?
Oui. He married that actress, the little dachshund. They used to come here. The nutty professor and the movie star.
If Oubier's wife was a movie star, how come I never heard of her?
She was big in France. The world doesn't stop at Hollywood. Her stage name was Carol Climax. She died in suspicious circumstances.
How did Oubier's wife die?
I heard he shot her.
And got away with it?
He had a good lawyer and a watertight alibi.
Why would an eminent public figure like Oubier risk everything for murder?
He wouldn't be the first, would he? Besides, people like him always get off.
Do you know that man over there?
I should think so. He's a regular customer.
Look at this. A poison dart.
Ah oui, sure.
It's the real thing. Knocked my girlfriend out cold in a matter of seconds.
Romantic. Sounds like a real close relationship you have going.
That's all.
Thank you.
Well, this is a surprise, Georgie.
I wouldn't normally call you. But Nico's in trouble, Andre. Deep trouble. You have to help me find her.
What? What have you dragged her into this time?
It was you that recommended Professor Oubier as an expert on Mayan art. Now his butler's kidnapped her, and he tried to kill me.
Every time she gets involved with you, there is trouble. Walking out on her was the best thing you could do.
My father was dying, damn it. I had no choice.
Well, she soon recovered once she went back to her old friends.
Drop it, Andre. Right now, Nico's in danger, and we have to work together.
So, how can I help?
Nico needed to speak to Oubier about a stone.
Oh, you mean this stone?
So that's what all the trouble's about.
Precisely. Nicole told me to guard it with my life.
Well, it's worth more than that, surely.
Oh, very funny.
What's funny is that your life really is on the line.
What are you talking about?
The stone is a Mayan artifact, dummy. And the guy who kidnapped Nico was from Central America. It was the stone they were after.
Oh my god, you mean I could be in danger too?
What do you suppose the carving on the stone means?
I don't know. I haven't shown it to anyone.
Why don't you just give it to me?
I don't want your death on my conscience, George.
Where did Nico get the stone?
It was sent to her.
From where? Who?
I'm not sure I should tell you.
Oh, you should.
It was something to do with smuggling.
Why didn't Nico take the stone to Oubier?
I don't know. Perhaps she suspected something like this would happen.
If she's been hurt, Andre, I'll break every bone in your body.
No, that's typical of you. Do you think I don't care what happens to Nicole?
It occurred to me that slugs don't have bones to break, but I kept that thought to myself. Tell me about your friend Oubier.
He's more of a professional acquaintance than a friend.
I see. So you don't really know him at all?
No, I don't.
Does Oubier employ a guy from Central America?
Maybe. I don't know.
What do you think this is, Andre?
I don't know.
I'll give you a clue. It's got more backbone than you.
You think you're amusing, don't you?
What can you tell me about this pot?
South or Central American, I'd say. I have a friend who'd be able to tell you more.
Where can I find this guy?
He owns a gallery on the left bank, the Gliese Gallery.
Take a look at this, Andre.
It's a bank statement?
Yeah, Professor Oubier's account. 5 large cash withdrawals in the space of 3 days, all from an automatic teller in Marseille. Suspicious, isn't it?
You're even more crazy than you were before.
See you later.
Goodbye, Georgie.
I've had enough of your games, Kola. Tell me what you've done with my stone.
I thought your business was simply smuggling cocaine, Karzak. Why are you so interested in that stone?
Either you tell me what I want to know, or Pablo here will make you talk.
Okay. Well, I figured someone at the university would be able to help. So I had a word with one of my girlfriends, and she told me her boyfriend was a lecturer. I sent the stone to the Department of Ethnology. You know, I figured it was South American, so... You're not buying this, are you?
That's enough! I don't have time to listen to your mindless prattle. We'll leave you to think it over. Come the morning, you'll be ready to talk.
Do you miss being a gendarme?
Yes, of course I do. When I wore that uniform, I commanded respect. Not anymore.
It was a small silver flask from which the man was topping up his glass. I grabbed the flask and was struck by a powerful smell of absinthe, a highly potent and illegal alcoholic drink. Excuse me.
What?
What's that you're drinking?
It's wine.
Well, the waiter said it's absinthe.
That fool wouldn't know Pernod from cat's piece.
I'm trying to find my girlfriend. She's been kidnapped.
Kidnapped?
Yeah, it was our first day back together after many months.
That's too bad. My God, that's depressing.
Excuse me.
Leave me alone.
Now I had another lead. I could either go back to Ubier's house or visit the Glee's gallery. The Glee's gallery had style and class, but very few customers. I couldn't believe it. The pots were marked at 5,000 francs each. As far as I could tell, the pots were almost identical to the one I'd found in Ubier's house. At that price, I wasn't going anywhere near those pots. Hi, girls. What's the joke?
あなたはキレてですね。
Okay, fine. Looked like a witch and a headless bust. I had seen better. Pots, pots, and more pots, all hugely expensive. Are you Mr. Glees, the owner?
Good God, no.
Then I guess that must be him over there, right?
Your powers of deductive reasoning astound me.
Have you heard of Professor Ubier?
Yes, of course.
I was at his house earlier.
If you're going to drop names, you could at least name one worth dropping.
I thought Ubier was a well-respected man.
Why, his last book was nothing but pseudo-intellectual claptrap. The demented ramblings of a drug-dependent has-been.
What's that you're drinking?
I'm not sure, but I have a suspicion it might be urine. Glees can't expect a favorable criticism of his gallery when he serves this muck.
Would you give me your opinion on this pot, sir?
Yes, very rapouche.
Rapouche?
hideous.
What the hell do you think you're doing? What's the difference between my pot and all those other pots?
Yours is broken.
Why, you smug, pompous sloth.
Sticks and stones, dear boy, sticks and stones.
You smashed my pot.
Certainly, it was not only worthless, it was ugly and offensive.
To you, maybe.
Believe me, I was doing you a favor.
I wasn't going to waste any more breath talking to that pompous blimp. Maybe I could turn the situation to my advantage, and at the same time, get my revenge. Pots, pots, and more pots, all hugely expensive.
Excuse me, sir.
Uh-huh.
That area is private.
Oh, so I'm not allowed back here?
No, sir.
I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Certainly, sir. I'd be most happy to oblige.
You're English?
These days one prefers to think of oneself as European.
Sure. Whatever you say.
And how precisely may one assist you, sir?
What I really wanted to ask you about was a black stone.
A black stone?
Yeah, it's a Mayan artifact, about as big as my hand.
No, sir, one doesn't get much call for black stones. If it's Mayan artifacts you're interested in, I have some rather exquisite pots.
So did I, until that slob smashed it. Have you heard of Professor Oubier?
Of course. His name is synonymous with Mayan art. A number of these artifacts were supplied by Oubier himself.
Do you believe the story that Oubier murdered his wife?
If it was true, who can blame him? She was an opportunist tramp. Well, that's what I heard.
Have you seen any of Oubier's wife's films?
Only one. Believe me, I was appalled, shocked, disgusted, and repulsed.
Well, you sure got your money's worth. Last time I went to the movies, I wasn't even titillated. I suppose you have an import license for these relics?
Of course. But that's not my problem, sir. The professor arranges all the shipping. We simply collect the items from the docks.
Could you tell me which docks Professor Oubier uses to import the artifacts?
Good God, no. I can't possibly reveal my commercial secrets.
Do you get many Central American Indians in here?
No, sir. This is Paris. Central America is several thousand kilometers southwest of here. Straight across the Atlantic Ocean and turn left. You can't miss it.
Well, as it happens, I saw some Central American Indians this very morning.
Tourists, sir. Paris is full of them at this time of year.
I have some questions I'd like to ask about those pots.
The Mexican collection? Certainly, sir.
Where did you get them from?
Mexico, of course. I think, sir, we'll find the price extremely reasonable.
Hey, I'm not interested in buying them.
Oh, I see. Well, in that case, you'll excuse me.
There is a gentleman over there who seems to be enjoying your wine.
I can't think why. It was very cheap.
I found this news story referring to a total eclipse of the sun.
Really, sir? Well, fascinating.
I splashed a little absinthe into the glass and hoped he wouldn't notice the change of color.
Did you put something in my drink?
Yeah, I did. Well, what do you think?
Well, it's certainly an improvement over Gleese's wine. In fact, I could grow to like it.
Allow me. It was a sturdy packing case. There was nothing in the case but styrofoam packing, but pasted on the side was the remains of a label. Underneath the logo of a flying bird were the words Condor Transglobal Mars. The rest of the label was missing. It was beginning to make sense. Oubier had organized Nico's abduction. Oubier withdrew money from Marseille. Oubier was connected with Transglobal, who shipped their goods from a warehouse in Marseille. That's how the torn Transglobal label had once read. Marseille, not Mars. It wasn't much of a lead, but it was all I had. I set off immediately to catch the evening train.
Hey everyone!
Thank you so much for watching.
And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe.
And click on that pop-out box for the next video.
Nico, I have a great idea.